Good evening. It's Sunday, the 11th of December, and it's time for the news on RIK2. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has called on the political parties of Greece to shape a national position on the Cyprus problem. Tsipras also said that Greece could not tolerate the continuation of the outdated system of guarantees, nor of the presence of Turkish troops in Cyprus. Greece, with the other guarantor powers, Turkey and Britain, is set to take part in the International Conference on Cyprus, scheduled for January the 12th in Geneva, Switzerland. This is where security and guarantees will be discussed. The conference is the final phase of the UN-brokered Cyprus peace talks, which commenced 18 months ago under the guidance of UN envoy Ispan Barthaida. The conference had been thrown into question last month after Greece's Foreign Minister Nikos Gotchas had declared that Greece would attend only if the purpose would be the abolition of Turkish guarantees, a red line for Ankara, which still maintains thousands of troops in the breakaway north. Tsipras urged all Greek parties, and especially the main opposition party, New Democracy, to shape a specific position on guarantees and the presence of Turkish troops on the divided island. He also warned that it did not suffice to repeat the traditional mantra that Cyprus decides, Greece supports. Turkey has vowed vengeance against Kurdish militants it said were likely behind twin bombings that killed almost 40 people and wounded 155 in what appeared to be a coordinated attack on police outside a football stadium in Istanbul. The blasts last night, a car bomb outside the Vodafone Arena, home to Istanbul's Besiktas football team, followed by a suicide bomb attack in an adjacent park less than a minute later, shook a nation still trying to recover from a series of deadly bombings this year. There was no claim of responsibility, but Prime Minister Binali Yildirim said there was almost no doubt the attacks were the work of the militant Kurdistan Workers' Party, which has carried out a 3-decade insurgency. 13 people have been detained. Yildirim also warned those who would offer support to the attackers on social media or elsewhere. Comments aimed at pro-Kurdish politicians the government accuses of having links to the PKK, which is designated as a terrorist organization by the United States, Europe and Turkey. In recent months, thousands of Kurdish politicians have been detained, including dozens of mayors and the leaders of the People's Democratic Party, Parliament's second biggest opposition party, accused of links to the PKK. The crackdown against Kurdish politicians have coincided with widespread purges of state institutions following a failed coup in July. An explosion inside Cairo's Coptic cathedral has killed at least 25 people, most of them women, and injured 49. This is what Egypt's state television said, adding that at least 6 children were among the dead. Police and armoured vehicles filled the streets surrounding the church, and tens of protesters have gathered in front of the church to call for retribution. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. However, some supporters of the Islamic State militant group celebrated the attack on social media. A device containing about 12 kilograms of the explosive TNT had detonated on the women's side of the cathedral. More than 4,000 Islamic State militants have regrouped and launched a second attack to try to recapture the ancient city of Palmyra. This is what Russian news agencies said today, adding that the Islamic State was drawing on significant forces from its strongholds in Raqqa and Deir az-Zor. Earlier today, a news agency affiliated with the militants and a Britain-based monitoring group said Islamic State recaptured Palmyra after briefly retreating in the face of heavy Russian airstrikes. At the same time, Russian and US officials are still meeting in Geneva for more talks on an elusive plan for civilians and fighters to leave the besieged city of Aleppo. The fall of all of Aleppo to President Bashar al-Assad would bring him the biggest victory yet after nearly 6 years of civil war, but he would still remain far from restoring government control over his country. Cyprus Sailing athlete Pavlos Gondidis has clinched his first ever World Cup gold medal after taking first place at the 2016 Sailing World Cup final in Melbourne. Limassol-born Gondidis and closest rival and home favourite Matt Wynne had held the top 2 laser spots on 18 and 20 points. Cyprus's only Olympic medal winner had a conservative start, but he managed to hit the front of the fleet and grab the lead on the second upwind. And now a look at tomorrow's weather. Mostly clear skies in the morning, but developing cloud is expected to bring isolated showers, especially over the mountains. Winds will be light to moderate, southwesterly to northwesterly, force 3 to 4, turning moderate to strong by late afternoon. The sea will be slight. Temperatures will rise to 19 Celsius inland and in coastal areas, and 9 over the mountains. That's all for today. Join us tomorrow again for more news in English. Have a very good evening.